Hey ink drinkers, welcome back to my channel. It's that time of year, the mid-year freakout tag. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today. I am excited to dive into the mid-year freakout tag because I don't think I've done this in quite a few years. I'm trying to remember if I've done it since I switched over to this channel, and I don't think I have. Not this specific tag. I've done like mid-year check-ins and things like that, so I'm excited to do this again. There are some great questions here, and I might double up a little bit on my answers, but I've only read 28 books. I'm on my 29th as of right now. I'm not a quick reader, so I don't have a lot to pull from, but I did try to put some effort into these answers. So here we go. Number 1, the best book I've read this year. Of course, I couldn't narrow it down to one book. I have 3, but they're all equally favored by yours truly, in very different ways. So the first is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I do not have my copy in here. I have lent it out to one of my kids. They live under the same roof, so we're cool with lending because I'll be able to find it. But this is a book that I have been wanting to read for a very long time. I was somewhat familiar with the story because I've seen Frankenstein referenced in so many movies and other books and things like that, but I never actually sat down and read the original Frankenstein. So I'm really glad I was finally able to do it because I loved it. I'm trying to decide if Frankenstein has surpassed my love of Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, as far as classics go, classic horror, whatever you want to call it. I think they're neck and neck. I love them both. But I am so glad that I was able to read Frankenstein this year, and I will revisit it time and time again. I absolutely loved it. The second book that I chose for this category is My Best Friend's Exorcism. I'm actually quite surprised by this, and no, this is not the book I chose for my which book surprised you the most. I was surprised though. I knew I was going to enjoy it because many people told me that it was right up my alley, and I've heard so many fabulous reviews on this, just screaming the praises of My Best Friend's Exorcism, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. So I am really glad that I finally read it, and I can't wait to read more from Grady Hendrix. I've read a handful of his books and would like to read the entirety of his catalog. And the last book that I chose for this answer is Five Sons Over Somerset. You could insert any one of Robert Weaver's books that I've read this year, but I really found this story to be quite touching, especially with the parental aspect to the story. It's a father looking for his daughter, and it really hits all the feels and is beautifully written, and the storyline is amazing. There's nothing I didn't love about this book. Number 2, the best sequel I've read so far. Well, I think the only 2 sequels I've read are within the Sookie Stackhouse universe, so I'm gonna go with From Dead to Worse. I love this one. I think it's my favorite one so far, and I only have one left on my shelves, it's behind me here, to read before I need to get a hold of some more to finish out the series. So I am so grateful that I picked that up because I loved it. I was a little bit nervous about the one prior to this. I forget what it's called. They all have dead in the name, I know that. Because while I enjoyed it, certain aspects made me a little nervous. It kind of veered way off from what I was used to in the Sookie universe. But also, it was exciting. It kept me turning those pages because I didn't know what was going to happen, because it was so far off of what I was used to as far as the True Blood show went, that it was intriguing. So I'm really glad that I picked this one up because it is my favorite in the series so far. Classic Sookie behavior, and it just kind of came back around to the world, the universe, the setting, the vibe that I have grown to love when it comes to Sookie Stackhouse and True Blood and all that. Number 3, a new release you haven't read but want to. So I have been seeing so much praise for Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. I really want to read this. Love the cover, love the whole idea of this story, and so many people that I follow here on YouTube and on Instagram that I truly admire and respect and trust when it comes to recommendations have shouted this book out via video or post. So definitely want to check it out. Number 4, the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now this one was a little bit tricky for me because I don't pay super close attention to what's coming out unless it is by an indie author that I follow closely, or someone has said something about it on their channel or on their Instagram page. So I had to kind of do some digging to see what grabbed my attention. The one that stood out to me, like jumped out at me, I should say, is The Winter Folk by Jen Julian, and it is set to come out July 21st, 2026. So I definitely want to get my hands on that at some point. I am not one to run and grab a book as soon as it's released, clearly. But I definitely want to read that. Absolutely love the cover. It is stunning. And the synopsis definitely intrigues me. Number 5, my biggest disappointment. Don't come at me, those of you who are big fans of this book. I felt like it was kind of a middle of the road read for me, and I had higher expectations for it. I thought I was going to absolutely love this book, and I just had a lot of issues with it. So I ended up giving it 3 stars, and that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Now listen, that doesn't mean much because I am obsessed with the whole Wuthering Heights culture going on. Well, it's kind of died down, but I did not watch the new movie, which I know is a very creative adaptation of Wuthering Heights, and it's a very polarizing movie. I do want to watch it, but I didn't want to go to the theater to watch it, so I will watch it eventually. But I love the whole idea of it. There was just a lot that didn't work for me, and so I was disappointed because I really thought it was going to be like a 4 to 5 star read for me. Biggest surprise, and I'm assuming this is a positive light, that's the angle I'm taking anyway. I was so surprised by Rust Colored Rain by Otto Schaefer. I ended up giving that book 4 stars. Now, I just kind of grabbed it from one of the free offerings through some site that I follow. I'm so great at remembering where I acquire my ebooks. It's amazing. I don't remember where I got it, but it happened to work out really well for Zombie-thon. And so I read that thinking it was going to be okay, because much of what I tend to read for Zombie-thon is okay. And I am more blown away by the watches I come across, because I typically, for readathons and things like that, go for the freebies or things that I already have. And with Zombie-thon, it's quite tricky because it's a very specific reading event. So I did not expect to love this as much as I did. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't perfect, but it was so darn good. I really enjoyed it. And I am definitely tempted to check out more in this series. I don't know how many books are in the series. I know it is book 1. And I typically don't like to read a lot of series unless it's something I'm super invested in from the jump. I'm not gung-ho for this series in the way I am for Sookie Stackhouse, for instance, or Game of Thrones or something like that. But I'm intrigued enough to possibly pick up the second book next year for Zombie-thon. Number 7, my favorite new author, debut or new to me. And I chose Damian Casey, which I may have read him in the past. I'm trying to remember if he was part of any of the anthologies I've read over the years. But as far as reading his books, his standalone books, I don't think I've read anything by him up until this year. And when I did read his books, I was pleasantly surprised. So the 2 books of his that I read were The Village of Gil and Coffin Dodger. I read those during Old School April, I believe. I had them on my Kindle, and I'm trying to read through a lot of the things that I downloaded a long time ago. And so I was super happy with those books. They were so entertaining. I am really excited to read more. I think I've got 2 more of his books on my Kindle that I'd like to get into at some point, hopefully this year, if not in the very near future. Number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't really develop fictional crushes on book characters. I don't know. I'd have to think about that, but we're gonna skip over that one. Number 9, newest favorite character. I had to think about this a lot because the creature, aka Frankenstein's monster, would be probably my favorite, but if we're going like complete human characters, I would have to say Abby from My Best Friend's Exorcism. Her dedication to her friendship with Gretchen, you can't beat it. Number 10, a book that made you cry. Okay, you could probably put up any of the books I've read, and I probably cried at some point. Maybe not with all of them, but I do cry a lot. I'm a sensitive soul. The older I get, the more I cry. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the book that I chose for this particular prompt is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Oh, I loved it. So the Bronte sisters, let's talk about them for a second. While Emily Bronte did not fully conquer my heart and soul, her sister Charlotte did. I loved Jane Eyre, loved it so much, and it definitely made me cry a few times, I think. Number 11, a book that made me happy. We're gonna jump back to From Dead to Worse. I just loved it so much, and the fact that it circled around back to Suki's home and just kind of brought back some familiar faces and places, and it just felt like going home. And so I really loved it, and it made me happy, and I'm so excited to read the next one. Number 12, the most beautiful book you've bought this year or received. I had to look back because I couldn't remember. There were a couple that I had in mind that I wasn't sure when I purchased them, and I'm still not quite certain that I didn't buy them this year. I think I bought them at the end of 2025. So we're gonna jump ahead and we're gonna talk about The Burial Plot. I'm telling you, this is one of my all-time favorite covers. I absolutely love it. It is so gorgeous. The colors, I love it. And number 13, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? Well, I mean, I don't need to read the books that I'm listing, but I'd really like to. And so I have a lot of books that I recently purchased on this list. And by recent, I mean in the beginning, like March, maybe end of February, beginning of March. I'm just super excited to read these and really hope to get to them this year. Now I have 10 books on this list, and they're all books that are on my physical shelves. There's a whole lot of books in my Kindle that I'd love to get to as well, but for the sake of time and keeping things simple, I'm going to list out 10 books that are on my shelves. Misery, The Burial Plot, Listen to Your Sister, Dead and Gone, We Used to Live Here, The Prophet's Wife, A Grandmother Begins the Story, The Wolf and the Favor, The Institute, and City of Blood. City of Blood is the 5th book in a series I received from my friend Heidi. She is so generous. I still can't believe it. This is part of the Nightmareland Chronicles, so this is volume 5. And I absolutely love this series, and I might need to jump back to book 4 and kind of skim through it just to remind myself of what's happening, because it's been a little bit since I've visited this series, but I am so excited. Now, my husband started this one, and so I'm trying to patiently wait for him to finish, and then I will read it. There's also another book in the series that I have to get to, which is Lily, and it's a chunker compared to the rest. The rest are kind of like novellas, and this is a big baby. So I'm really excited about both of these, but I definitely recommend the Nightmareland Chronicles. That is it. I don't think I freaked out too bad, did I? I'm really so happy with what I've read so far this year. There's not a lot that disappointed me greatly, so I'm really thankful for that. But there's a whole lot that so impressed me. So I'm really excited to see what else grabs my attention this year, what else I get into, and kind of the worlds that I get lost in. So I'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite book you've read so far this year? And what are you most looking forward to reading by the end of the year? Comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you join my little bookish corner of the internet. And cheers to getting into some great books. See you next time. Bye.